everybody. Yep, that's right. The 69th edition of the Wrap-Up is coming your way. Dan Myers, Nick Buckler at it again. Dan, it's football season, my good man.
It is, and apparently something.
The Lions
Yeah.
happened, actually. They're 1-2 in the preseason right now. And get this, first string, 0. Yeah, that's right. 0 touchdowns for the first string Detroit Lions. Matt Prater's been kicking it all over the place like normal. 60-yard field goal last Saturday against the Ravens, and preseason's always controversial. John Harbaugh, coach of the Baltimore Ravens, lost their starting tight end, Benjamin Watson, with a torn Achilles against the Lions, and that caused the uproar. Is the preseason too long? I've always thought so. I think preseason football might be one of the worst things I've ever seen. Definitely shorten it to 2 games, but the Lions 1-2. Their final game coming up Thursday. I believe it's against Buffalo. It always seems to be if it's not this year. That's how much I care. I don't even know who they're playing. None of the starters are going to play, so that means they're not going to get a touchdown at all during the preseason. Dan, is it time to panic, if you will, if you're a Lions fan?
No, and I have to agree with you, too. I think the season is way too long, especially when you have games where you don't even have the starters playing. What's the point of that? It's just, with so limited amount of games, the risk of injury is just too great, and the loss of a key player is too imminent, and it's really frustrating knowing that the fans are going to this game thinking it's nothing. It's just a preseason game.
Oh, let me interrupt. The fans that go to preseason games are a different breed.
Yeah.
They think it's the Super Bowl. They get into that Dunkin' Donuts race. They get into the kick the field goal for a free haircut. They love preseason football. And you know what? Fans of preseason, you're not going to get to enjoy it much longer, I think. I think something's going to happen here within the next few years. And then, because those fans don't come to regular season football. They watch it belly up with a PBR in hand at the local watering hole. To me, preseason fans are just like the product on the field. Subpar and just bad.
Yeah. I mean, with some ticket prices, it's the way they are. I mean, I can understand it. You got a family. That is the time. If you're going to bring your family to a game, bring it to the preseason. I don't want to hear Junior crying about his McNuggets falling on the ground or wanting another Lions toy or something like that. So if you want to go, that's perfectly fine. That's great. Get the kids out, at an appropriate age, bring them there. But when it finally comes down to the regular season, it's definitely time for some good football.
Some fans that know the game. I saw a funny meme online over the weekend. Bud Light came out with the new cans with the team's logos on it, and it said it was the Lions Bud Light can, and it says, "Oh, gee, I finally found a beer can that will not leave any rings on my table." I thought that was funny.
That was good.
They've never won a Super Bowl ring. Forward down the field, the team that always yields. Matt Stafford, no touchdowns in the preseason. Amir Abdullah, no touchdowns in the preseason. Marvin Jones Jr., no touchdowns in the preseason. Hey, Golden Tate, no touchdowns in the preseason.
Yeah. I
can keep going.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we've only got a 25-minute show.
The rest of the starters, no touchdowns in the preseason. Lions, easy schedule. Dan, give me a record for the Detroit Lions. I'm giving them 7-9 this year.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe 6 wins at best. I don't know.
And that's because of an easy schedule. It's really bad, the schedule this year. They play the NFC East. They play the AFC No, they don't play. That is the East. I'm sorry. I forgot the Rams moved to LA.
That's right.
And they play them. You better believe it. And that's a bad football team. But guess what, folks? So are the Detroit Lions. San Fran's pretty bad as well, Dan.
Yeah, something happened with their quarterback. What? Did you hear anything about this?
Well, Dan, I was hoping you wouldn't bring this up, but here I really didn't want to bring this up.
It needed to be brought up.
It had to be brought up.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Colin Kaepernick was in the news this past week in their 3rd preseason game. Let me just paint the picture for you, folks. Colin Kaepernick, $19 million a year. Backup quarterback. All right? You got that, Dan? You
19
taking your-
million.
Yep, 19 million a year.
And-
He makes. In what country does he make that money?
Back up. The U.S. of A. Last
The
time I
United States of
checked.
America. That's right. He
Yeah.
makes his money here in America, the United States, land of the free, home of the brave.
Say that again. What was the last part?
Home of the brave.
Okay.
Yeah.
Land of the free.
Land of the free. Right. So his freedom that he exercised before the game was to not stand up during the Star-Spangled Banner, our nation's anthem. He does. The NFL does not have a rule. They say players are recommended to stand but not required. To me, that shows disrespect for the entire country and for the entire military and the entire history of our country, who has fought to be free so he can live a life that he wants to live and make $19 million a year to play football, to throw dead animal skin around in this country. Okay? He elects to sit down during the national anthem because he will not stick up for a flag that oppresses the killing of black people
And those of color.
and those of color, all races, that non-whites rather.
And to quote, finish the quote, I'll let you get back to it. To me, this is bigger than football, and it'd be selfish to look the other way.
Okay, Colin, Mr. K. You want to know what's selfish? I've got some words for you. You elect to sit down, the only one in the entire stadium, mind you. You don't have to put your hand over your heart. You don't have to salute. And finally, that's frowned upon unless you served. Just stand up and show some respect. But you don't. You do not respect the flag that allegedly oppresses the killing of black people. Okay? Non-whites, basically. Okay? And this has caught fire. People are saying, yeah, he's right. The NFL, there will be no punishment. Apparently, Roger Goodell is... What,
Well, he's spineless as enough
that's,
as it is.
that's a whole
other
different can of
question.
worms. However, this country... Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Colin Kaepernick has the freedom to not stand up. Because this is the, what, Dan? Land of the free. Okay? Men and women, and animals and anything else, white, black, red, yellow, blue, purple, green, for all I care, have died for that flag, for your freedom. So you can protest. You have the freedom to protest. Peaceful protest, preferably. This was not a violent act by any means. However, they did it. You have that freedom because of the flag, because of the United States, the land of the free. Gets back to that. That's fine. You can post on Twitter. You can announce in a post-game press conference. And obviously, you can sit during the national anthem and pretty much spit on our nation. Turn your head? Can't turn your head. So you're just going to say, you know what? 1776, founding fathers, 200, 300, whatever, 250 years of freedom, Revolutionary War, segregation, all this. Just kiss it down just see you later, goodbye. Just because of one ignorant act that you decided to do. And get this, he's going to continue to do it for the rest of the year until something changes. Colin, I got news for you. You know what's going to change? Your status in the NFL. If you don't want to stick up for this nation and defend this nation and stand during the anthem or this flag, I'll pay for your ticket to Canada. You can go play for the Toronto Argonauts or whoever and play in the CFL because, frankly, that's where your career's headed anyways. You can't even start in San Francisco over Blaine Gabbert. You make $19 million a year in this country, and the reason you can is because it's the land of the free. You have the freedom to do whatever you want to do and to be so ignorant. And people are going to hate this. They're going to say, whoa, how can you, Nick, be so ignorant and not seeing that this country oppresses the killing of people of
Each
all
other.
color?
It's
not
the killing
it's not
of
a
each
black
other.
and a white problem. It's an everyone problem.
Yeah.
No matter who, what color, green, blue, gray, silver, I don't care. Everyone's killing everyone. It happens every day. So for one group to just single himself out, Colin Kaepernick, Gonzo, to me, that is one of the most ignorant acts I have ever seen in modern day sports, if not the single most. You spit on this whole country and belittled everyone in it. To me, the whole history of the United States was just given a big 2 letters, and the second one's U and the first one's after E. All right?
The whole military's been spit on as far back as going, to fighting the British.
These people have died for him, for you, for me, and you're just gonna sit there.
He's like
It's not even 2 minutes. Stand, respect the people. They are directly defending you, Colin, directly. And for you to not respect that because of a very, 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 very small percent of people who kill people is just so absurd to me. It's just so frustrating and really troublesome that happens. And I don't know. The fact that this guy's career has to be going down the tubes. If you're San Francisco, you got to make a move somehow, because you can't support him. And if you do, scratch yourself on the head and say, "What? I need to reevaluate myself." This is an entire military. Did you see the picture of the military member who lost his legs serving the country?
standing
and he was standing up, holding himself up on his wheelchair. Yet Colin Kaepernick, able-bodied athlete, $19 million a year in the U.S., sits on the bench and then stands when it's over. You don't have to clap. You don't have to put your hand over your heart. You don't have to say word for word. Just stand up. It's absolutely a kick below the belt to a whole nation, to years and years of trying to get your freedom from Great Britain like you talked about. And it's just absolutely absurd for someone to do this. The flag stands for freedom. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. And that's what you chose to do it on.
That's right.
I would get, I'd deport him. That's extreme, maybe. But if you don't like this country, then you know what? Go somewhere else. We'll be right back.
If ever there's a reason to be swept up in the season of the falling rains, and if the days grew shorter and the darkness drew its order from the autumn gray, I'd rather sit this out and sleep the day away instead. My weary eyes a bit too slow and deep. I'd rather sit this out and sleep the day away instead, to worry about the emptiness that comes.
Welcome back to the wrap-up, and as you just saw, obviously we were both very heated about this. Nick, definitely said his piece. I have to agree with him wholeheartedly, 100%. And going back, I don't know if you saw us on our social media Facebook feed a couple months ago. We were fortunate enough to have a veteran come in and bring up to us the 22 push-up challenge for 22 days, because every 22 minutes a veteran commits suicide. And with this being pretty big in the news, I think it was very disrespectful to not only all veterans nowadays, but also all that's happened before. I think it's a slap in the face. The NFL is really, really shooting themselves in the foot. And, with the way they treat their veterans, this whole country, let's be honest, the way they're treating their veterans is it's a crock, it's a shame, it's laughable. But that's a whole different other discussion. I feel like the veterans are they're always put second to anything else. But like I said, we're not going to get into that today. But as far as the NFL, They were charging, I believe, the military PR time when it came to anything that involved the military. It wasn't, out of the NFL's pocket, this multi-billion-dollar industry. And so to me, that was just, it was embarrassing. But this, especially not taking care of, all right, we're in a free country. We're allowed to do what you want. That's
fair enough.
But that's why these veterans have been putting themselves, their bodies, their lives on the line to be able for pieces of crap like this to disrespect them. All right.
Once you go overseas, your mind is never the same.
Yeah. It's really not.
It ruins your life.
And he says it'd be selfish to look the other way. You know what's selfish is these people that voluntarily signed their lives away, essentially the possibility of losing their lives, coming home, looking forward to seeing the normal life again, and coming home to just throw on the TV on a Sunday, watch some football, maybe forget about some of the stuff they saw.
But they can't now.
And then you have a degenerate lowlife like this, who's just a spoiled brat. And really, to me, it's watching a spoiled brat trying to get his way, trying to make. Yes,
and you know what?
And we have an issue with we do have issues with what's going on with the senseless killings all around the nation. But this is nor the time, nor the place, nor the way to show how this needs to be changed. To me, it's a cop-out. It's a look at me. I haven't been relevant in the NFL for a couple of years.
Or ever.
Pretty much, yeah. I haven't been relevant, and I need the FaceTime. And I'm really struggling to keep this very PG rated. I know we have to watch it.
I think I've already crossed the line a little bit.
So if you see any rough edits, it's just because of our language. But, it's hard not to get fired up about something like this. And I think, yes, we do have an issue with what's going on in this country. But a lot of it, 22 people died in Chicago within the past month of senseless killings. That's an issue you need to take care of. You need to start going to schools.
Maybe the whole Bears should just not stand up during the anthem.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade's cousin was recently murdered over this weekend, and he said something about the senseless life. The big problem with this country right now is we are so divided. And whether it's our politicians running, whether it's, your neighbors, or just, we are so divided. And what we have to do right now is really come together. And by, a big NFL player getting the spotlight like this in such a negative way just further divides the country, and this is not what we need right now.
One thing I noted, I looked into the history of charity donations from NFL players. Colin Kaepernick, not on there once.
No.
So not only is if he's so, tied up in all these people and these families that are losing their loved ones, he hasn't donated a single ounce of time, let alone money, to those families. So if he really does care, at least go talk to people. Say, hey, go to the schools, like you mentioned. Enlighten them. Hey, look at me. I'm a superstar. Let me guide you to not be a violent person, to not want to kill. And no, you know what he does instead? He just spits on our entire nation.
Yeah.
That's teaching the youth. That, you know what? Look at our leaders. We can just say, see you later, America. I'm a star. I don't have to, support our country that made me free and made me rich. Yeah. That, to me, lead by example, and this is most certainly not the way.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see him walk in a veterans hospital and walk out after maybe 15 minutes of visiting people and then see what happens. Well, not only that, I mean, even if he should survive that,
they'd kill him.
See if his mentality's still the same. I mean,
I feel like he's so ignorant. It would be.
It's easy to say stuff from the ivory tower.
If I want to watch Colin Kaepernick, I'll turn on an episode of The Muppets and watch Gonzo. For crying out loud. Dan, let's get rid of this.
Yeah, it's just firing us up.
Let's talk Tigers. Also might fire us up.
Might fire us up also.
They're pretty bad. Not bad, but streaky.
Yeah.
They're 4.5 games out of the American League Central behind Cleveland, who's also been pretty bad of late. Starting pitching has not been what it was of the beginning of the year, rather. They had the best for April through June ERA, starting pitchers. Since, they've been 27th in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Salazar's been bad. Carrasco's been bad. Trevor Bauer's been bad. Tomlin can't do anything. The Tigers' offense woke up for a couple games. They won 5 straight. Then the hapless Angels come to town and take 2 out of 3, and we, for some reason, couldn't take the bats off our shoulders. I don't know if you saw Saturday night when 4 members of the team were ejected by umpire Mike Everett. Yes, sure, those were not strikes. They were very low. He was calling the low strike all game. Victor Martinez acted childish to me. That's not the way, again, to lead by example. Throwing his helmet back out at the umpire and not stepping back into the batter's box, being a big baby. To me, that was over the line. Getting tossed, that's fine. But let it go, all right? Let it go. Don't get me wrong. Love Victor. It was entertaining to watch these guys get ejected. Then Brad Ausmus and Wally Joyner get ejected. You know, when Wally Joyner, half of Detroit doesn't even know who that is, gets ejected. It's bad.
Sounds
I was
like a
waiting
Disney
for
movie.
Gino to get tossed.
Right.
See him waddle on out of the dugout. And then JD gets tossed. And he had never been tossed from a game before. He didn't know what to do. He said, you're having a bad day, Mike, to home plate umpire Mike Everett. He goes, what'd you say? So he repeated it, and they tossed him. To me, this brings up the question, are umpires trying to make the game about them? Nobody is coming. You know what? Mike Everett's umping home. We should go down to the ballpark tonight. Yeah, let's get some seats, Jimmy. All right, I'm going to wear my blue polo, too, to support the umpires. If you do that, you need to check yourself, because you've already gone wrecked yourself. Let me tell you that right now. The umpires have egos. I don't know why. A good umpire is one that never gets noticed. A bad umpire is the one that's in the name.
Yeah.
Jim Joyce, C.B. Buckner, now Mike Everett. It's bad. And Jim Joyce isn't a bad umpire. He just had one bad day.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, what I respect about Jim Joyce is he admitted it. He was wrong. He had a bad day. There's no reason the guy should be getting death threats. His family should be getting death threats. It's a game.
Yeah.
All right? It's a game. Galarraga's career's over anyways.
Where's he?
That was his only good start of his life.
Yeah.
So, to me, a good umpire is one who can admit his faults and just kind of go back behind and not be noticed.
Right.
The ones who are noticed are usually the bad ones. Mike Everett.
Yeah, and that's the difference between him and Jim Joyce. That Jim Joyce knew he made one bad call.
Yeah.
This is a repeated action. You're throwing out Wally. You're kicking out Wally Joyner. It sounds like a dang Disney movie, and he sounds like a Disney movie. Anyways, but yeah, I thought that was pretty comical. It's something you don't normally see, and I think
If you don't know, well, now you know.
Yes, you know. But yeah, that it was pretty funny. I just kept getting the Bleacher Report.
It was
such
funny.
and such just kicked out of the game, ejected.
The crowd just came unglued.
Yeah.
After the fourth ejection, I thought the place was going to crumble. But anyways, Tigers now back on a little bit of a skid. They got the White Sox coming to town this week. Matt Boyd on the hill. He's been money since the All-Star break. ERA south of 2. So Fulmer, who's been a little rough of late, but not horrible. His ERA is still respectable, 2.3. Verlander's been great. Those three guys. And then when Zimmerman comes back, you can finally get Sanchez out of that rotation and have Norris as your 5th. It's shaping up. The offense needs to stay consistent. JD and Cabrera right now have been the only two guys that have been consistently awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And you need at least 6 guys in your line. Upton's picked it up a lot. Don't get me wrong. He's got, when he's on, one of the nicest uppercut power swings I've ever seen. But he's only hitting 236, and that's after being hot for the last month. Dan, we flip-flop saying in or out, in or out. I'm going to ask it again. Do they make the playoffs? If so, is it a wild card? They're only one game back. Or is it an AL Central championship?
I got to go with the AL Central championship.
You think they're going to win it?
If they are getting in, it's going to be because of that. There's just so many. Was it Toronto, Boston, Baltimore?
Yep.
Going with that, I think it's just
Seattle's right on our heels as well.
Right.
Houston's right there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're only one game out.
That's true.
You're
So
saying
I-
in via Central Championship?
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to take it through the wild card.
I'm
but-
saying wild card,
okay.
if at all.
Yeah.
Again, it's too early to tell. They're too streaky. And who knows, the streakiness might continue all the way. Real quick, before we say peace out for now, college football starts
Yes,
this weekend.
it's on its
I am
way.
juiced. Number 7 Michigan on Saturday plays the Hawaii Rainbows or whatever they are. I'm not sure. That game on Saturday at the Big House. Hawaii played to a loss, I believe, to Cal on Friday. So coming into the Big House, hungry for a win. Take your pick. Michigan, Hawaii. Who do you got?
I think we're going with Michigan.
1, 2, 3. Hawaii, Michigan. Michigan, obviously. And then Friday night, right before that, the number 12 Michigan State Spartans play host to Furman in a big game. Furman coming to town. East Lansing.
Those
Who do you got? One,
I think it's
2,
3.
3.
Furman.
No,
There we
the
go.
Spartans will definitely take them there. 2 softballs, if you will, this weekend. I'm excited for some college football. Can't wait for these big games, even though they both should be very winnable games for both of our hometown teams. I'm excited just to have football back because that means fall. That means hockey's right around the corner.
Yes.
And then who knows? I'm excited for Michigan this year. I know you and I both are Walmart Wolverines. We love to buy.
Well, there's
our-
nothing Walmart pricey about that Jumpman
No,
gear,
Dan,
though.
I
I'll tell
heard
you
you
that.
dropped what, $160 and got 2 articles of
I
clothing.
got a hat and a polo. So
I spent $80 and I got a thank you card. Still haven't gotten my shirt yet in the mail. So MJ is going to be the honorary captain at the Big House. So if you lose in MJ's presence, they should just shut down for the year, fire Harbaugh, and hire me,
go back to Adidas.
and we'll go back to New Balance.
There you go.
No,
No dig on New Balance. They make
no,
some terrific
if
shoes.
you want to hit me up for a sponsorship, just kidding. Dan Myers, Nick Buckler. Red 86, set, hut. Peace out.